All right. So let's just look at some examples first. That's probably the best way to go about this. So we're going to be designing two spreads, two magazine spreads. A spread is two facing pages when you open up a magazine. We've all seen them before, probably. And one is going to be what I call the opening spread of a magazine, which is the introductory one, the one that has the beautiful pictures and the teaser and a little bit, and you're like, oh, I want to read this thing, and you flip the page, you get into the article, right? We're going to be doing that first spread, that's the teaser spread, as well as the inside pages. One of the requirements of the assignment is that you don't just download an image, but you combine images in Photoshop and then bring them into InDesign. You don't want to do combination stuff in InDesign. It's not the sexiest place to do it. But you got to use, combine at least two images, right? To create the opening spread image. Why? Because downloading someone's picture and putting someone's name on there isn't really creative. And at least we're creating something derivative that we can call our own, right? It's derivative of somebody else's work. So most people choose to take the person or team or whatever it is and put them on some different background. That's been what most students choose to do. And I'll go over the details of what's allowed and not allowed, but we're not looking for collaging. So they've blended two movie stills, it looks like, in the background and then put his image above it. And the image and the name should be relatively balanced. Always keep in mind that there is a fold running through here. And big type is no big deal in a fold, but little itty bitty words are a no in the fold, and faces are a no in the fold. All right, the inside spread needs to be at least 50%, up to 75% graphics. Why? Because this is a design class. So I want it to be graphics intensive. The copy can come from any article you find. I don't recommend Wikipedia because of all the citations. It's a waste of your day trying to delete citations, it really is. So I suggest finding something in a fanzine or an industry, whatever, that works, even from the magazine that you're imitating, if you would. The words don't matter here because, quite frankly, we're not taking credit for the words. We're taking credit for the design, right? I'm going to teach you how to do here wraps. So image wraps, where images wrap around things. I count pull quotes, and a pull quote is just a quote pulled out of the copy. I count pull quotes as graphics, so those count towards the total. And how I add this up is I kind of, in my mind, stack everything in a page and go, is that about 50%? This one will be just about 50%, maybe a little more. So there we go. So here's another example, Tame Impala. Note that each one of these magazine spreads has a little bit of a teaser. It's not a paragraph, it's just a little bit of something to bring you in, right? A little bit of a tease. So here, the tease is how an anxiety-ridden child of divorce embraced the inner stadium rocker and built one of the biggest young bands. So it's really about Kevin Parker. Now this layout isn't quite 50%, and quite frankly, it's missing a few things that I think are important, so it's kind of a non-example. This is about Kevin Parker, but wait. The album cover of his is much larger than his face is anywhere in here. Make the subject of your magazine spread the star of the magazine spread. That makes sense, doesn't it? I know it sounds silly. His work and his logo are bigger than his face. And quite frankly, this is the most interesting part of the page right here, his face. And it's looking at us. The strongest images are always someone gazing at you, at the viewer, because we're taught to gaze back at someone gazing at us. But quite frankly, look how small this is in comparison to the whole page, right? So each page should have a star or a champion, and it should be the subject. So what am I saying? If I'm going to have 5 pictures of a subject in there, one should be bigger than the others. All the heads should not be equally the same because then it's totally balanced. Here's an example of a wonderful layout. Lindsey Sterling, really powerful opening image. She is staring, gazing right at you. A fun font. If you're picking your font out of the computer that's already there, then you're not going the extra mile of a designer, are you? The font is that little sprinkles, that little finishing touch of a spice on top. Make your font reflect whatever you are doing, because there's certainly enough fonts out in the world to make things fun. Here's a lot of writing. I probably would have gone with less. I certainly would have gone without the hyphen. And the page numbers are a little big, but this inside spread is marvelous. It's fun to look at. The student found a bunch of elements and combined them to create something interesting to look at. Here's another one. Way too much writing on the opening spread. I probably would have made their images bigger as well as the logo, because honestly, the image and the logo occupy as much room as the copy. So I think this student thought that the article was supposed to start here, and it's not. The article, but this is much better. So here we have a difference in head sizes. I know it sounds silly, right? But that difference makes a difference. And even here we do, although sadly this picture should be bigger. If that's an important picture, we're talking about him and his cancer, right? Like this one, it's so dark and the details are so rough to see that it would have to be really large for it to have any added impact. Otherwise, you got to search for information. Make your images simple images that people can understand at a first glance. Because if I have to go searching in an image, I probably won't. I may, but I probably won't, especially if it's going to be big. But a champion is really important. Like this is even kind of hard to read, just because of the size of the text inside of there, if you're looking at it in magazine size. These page numbers are pretty good. Only problem with this one is the numbers are always at the furthest point out, right? The numbers are always at the farthest corner of any book or magazine you read. They always are, just the way it works. And there is a rubric here as well. So hopefully those examples kind of were helpful. And we'll go over the rules of the road in detail at the end, if you'd like. I will be kind of talking through them with the demonstration. Are there questions so far? Pretty clear? All right. So as I said, InDesign is a program that is made to assemble things. Photoshop is where we alter images, massage them, make them the way we want them. And Illustrator being the place where we create interesting graphics. InDesign is really a desktop publishing program that is made to create multi-page documents. That's really, so books, magazines, that type of thing, things with multiple pages. And because of that, it's a little idiosyncratic. So I'm going to jump right over to InDesign. And let's go and start a new file. Now I have put into your assignment, if you go back to Polarano, would it be that way with me? It is that way with me. Too many full pages. Here we go. Oops, not that one. Oopsie. Didn't know that page was open. But I did put this, what I'm about to show you here in your assignment, because getting the document right to start is like important. Otherwise, you'll be frustrated from the word go. So I have put that in here. All right. So I'm going to go to New File, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change picas to inches. So 8.5 by 11 inches. That's what our page is going to be. Don't design your own page size, please. And we want to keep them in this orientation. Now we're going to be doing 2 spreads or 4 pages, right? So I'm going to put 4 pages here. And here's an interesting thing. Now we don't want to start on page 1 because this page 1 of any document is the cover, right? Or that opening page, the cover page. We want to start on page 2 so that we have opening spreads, so equal spreads. So we're going to start on page 2. Tell it to start right here on page 2. And number of columns. Unless it's a Reader's Digest, one of these small little magazines, you know, you've seen them. Sometimes churches or whatever. My mother had one that came in all the time for her Bible study. Unless it's a tiny little magazine, magazines are going to be 2 columns or more. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 columns. But 1 column on an 8.5 by 11 page is really hard for readers to read in a magazine. So they usually split them in 2 columns. So my advice here is go with 2 columns to start. You can do 3. It's just awkward to read, I think. I think magazines do 3 and 4 on occasion when the article isn't very good. And an important detail here is facing pages. If I don't do facing pages, it will show me 1, 2, 3, 4 pages in a row instead of showing me spreads, right? So I need to have it facing pages. That may as well say spreads. And I'm going to go to Create, and now I have spreads. And you'll notice that the columns, I said 2 columns, these aren't actual columns of type. What they are is guides for type. And what that means is I can drag my text box and want to snap to those little dimensions, which makes it easy to make even columns. That's why they do that, if that makes any sense. So they're not columns in themselves, they're just guides for columns. Now, I'm going to point out that the pink line is not the page. That is not where the page starts and ends. That is the warning track of where I would not put copy beyond. Remember I told you printing is an inexact science? It's about, they can be off by 1/8 of an inch. This is 1/4 of an inch. In other words, even if they're off that 1/8 of an inch, it's still going to look okay, right? It's not going to be at the edge. So this is just your warning track. The same reason in baseball they put sand down 10 feet in front of a wall, right? Because you might be in danger if you keep going. So keep your graphics outside of that. They should be bleeding beyond that, like most magazines do, right? But then you keep your text and any small text especially within that to keep it from getting cut off. That's what that's for. All right. So if you'll notice here, make sure that when you start yours, you're going to be in another workspace thing with Adobe products. When you open it up, it'll look like this. It'll say Essentials here. And we want to go to Essentials Classic. And I'm even going to reset mine to make sure it looks just like yours. And we want to do that because we're presented with more tools like we are in Illustrator. I don't know why they want to hide things, but they do. And you'll notice a lot of these tools look just like Adobe Illustrator, right? We have your arrow tools, your black and your white arrow. We have a page tool, which is a new thing, and we won't be using that. We have a gap tool we won't be using. But we have a text tool, a line tool, a pen tool, just like Illustrator, pencil. And we have these two other, we have a rectangle frame and a rectangle tool. Now the rectangle tool is just like the ones for shapes that you have in Illustrator. But this frame tool is a frame to contain graphic elements, and that's the first one we're going to use. And you'll notice a lot of these other tools also look like they do in Illustrator. So I'm going to talk about placing images in InDesign for this opening spread, right? And I'm going to build my composition photographically in here. I would recommend doing this in Photoshop, but this way I get to show you a few more things. So I'm going to create a box for this to go in, a frame for this to go in. Now, can I just drag and drop a photo in? Sure. But if that image is really huge, inches-wise, sometimes you can't even get to the end of it by zooming all the way out. Even sometimes if I zoom all the way out, I can't even get to it. It's happened, right? It's like I still can't get to the corner of that thing. So putting it in a container, in a frame, helps you keep things organized. It's going to put it in a frame for you when you make it big. It's just not going to be a frame you can work with. This way just helps. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how this works. I created a frame. I'm going to highlight it with the black arrow, which is the selection tool, and we have the bits and pieces direct selection tool, just like in Illustrator. And I'm going to go to File and Place. And I'm going to place a file inside of that. I'm going to go with the background image I downloaded. There it is. And that is not the whole image, but let me show you something now. I'm going to make this frame bigger because, oh, darn, I needed this frame to take up the whole page. Well, I do that, and you'll notice that this picture is not the size of the page. In fact, if I click on this, double click on this picture, you see that brown outline that appeared? That brown outline is the actual image. The frame is a frame. So if you picture a little square in front of me and I move it around and all you see is what's in that square, that's what the blue frame tool made. And then this is the picture behind it. So you'll notice if I move this around, come here you, I'll use my arrows for this. If I move it around, how I'm revealing more of the picture, right? So if this frame is smaller, let me click off of here again and go to that frame. If this frame is smaller, it's only revealing part of that picture. You all getting it? They do this because it's a publication program, and photo editors are going to want to edit the photos for the page, right? Not how they came from the photographer, from the photo department. They're going to want to make it fit those columns or what their layout looks like, and this gives people the flexibility to do that. Now, one of the things you may or may not notice, and we'll see how it came in, view. So for some reason, so for those of you working on your own laptops, you're gonna want to change this pretty quickly. It's starting the program with the display performance at high quality. And that means it's showing me all of these preview images like in their perfect pristine state. But when you have limited memory, which most of your laptops do, if not all of them, you're going to want to look at things at their typical display. And what's the difference? Let me zoom in so you can see. All right. You see how pixelated that is? This picture is not inside of this document. It's linked to the document. It's still in that folder that I imported it from. It's still living there, okay? But it put it in here as a placeholder. Now, I prefer a low resolution placeholder over a high one. Why? It's less text. Again, my computer, the less chances of everything just turning into a white screen and freaking me out. If that ever happens, Command us, or Control S if you're on a PC. Save your work. So the way most people work in here is in this low resolution format. I'm going to go again to View, Display Performance, put it to high quality. Now you can see that it looks pretty darn good. There are a few pixels here, but I'm really zoomed in on it. And I'm going to go and I want this to fit this box here, right? So I'm going to go and Control click on this. Control click, and you'll notice in the middle here, there's a thing called fitting. Now, these first three options are the good ones. These are a sucker's bet down here, so don't even bother with those. Why? Because all of the bottom ones are going to smush your picture in some way. It's okay if it's something that's a shape, but if it's a human or an animal, they look smushed, it looks weird. You don't want that in a magazine spread. So the nice thing about these top ones is you're going to do everything proportionally. In other words, nothing will get smushed. I want it to fill the frame proportionally. If I say fit frame proportionally, you'll notice that I have these bars. It's putting the whole picture inside of that little box, right? But I want it to fill that whole box. So I'm going to go back, Control click on this to fitting again. And I'm going to go to fill the frame proportionally. And now it filled everything. But if I double click, you'll notice that it actually cropped a little, right? Which I'm fine with. In this case, I kind of want that circle that's the middle of this thing over to the right a little more. So I'm just going to move my picture over a little more. There you go. Perfect. So now I'm done with that. I'm going to import another picture on top of this. And again, you probably want to do this in Photoshop, but just so you show you can do it in here. And I'm going to go ahead and go File, Place into that frame. And I've got a picture of the band somewhere. Where are you guys? It is a PSD, this one here. All right. And I cut this out poorly. You can see how poorly I cut that out a long time ago. And I'm going to do my fitting in here, right? So what do? Control click on this. And I go to Fitting. And I go to Fill Frame Proportionally. That works for me. Or Fit Content. I want to fit the content. I don't want these guys cropped, do I? That might be weird. You can use the content aware one. That one will know not to crop people. But there you go. I'm going to put these guys maybe over here. Now you want to be super careful. This right here is a fold. You don't want to put small type, big types, like headline type and even like 20-point, 30-point type. You can read. Your brain will fill out that one character that kind of goes in the fold, right? But a face in the fold is kind of bad only because it looks violent. Nobody wants their face folded. Who wants that to happen? Your face disappears, right? So be conscious of that. And I'm just going to move this over so that the face is not in the fold. I feel better about that. And I'm going to add one more element. What's required? Oh, I got to have their name balanced with this. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a big box here for their name. And I already downloaded some fonts. We know how to do that. I'm going to type in ZZ. I don't think there's a hyphen top. And I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to change it to a different color, first of all, because I don't like that. Let's go with, I want something that's going to pop a little bit. We got a lot of oranges already happening. How about bright lemon yellow? And let's make this really big. I'm going to go and highlight this and make this bigger. ZZ Topo Chico. All right? Make this bigger. There we go. I'm going to change the font. I downloaded some fun fonts in here. What was it called? Dirty Western. Dirty Western I downloaded last class. Let me just type in dirty. There's Dirty Western. And oh, you'll notice this font is horribly, the tracking is horrible on here. So I'm going to change the tracking. The tracking is the spacing between all the letters. It's this tool here. I'm going to add spacing between all the letters. And now it all looks good except right there, which is kerning, the space between two letters. Increase that space. Now it's getting kind of lost in here, right? So what if I applied a layer style? And I'm going to make this bigger. Before I do that, let's make this even bigger. Come on. Come to me. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. It's going from wall to wall. All right, now I want to put some kind of layer style on this. So with the object selected, I'm going to go to Object. And in Photoshop, they call them layer styles. In InDesign, it is called Effects. Same thing, though. Same interface for the most part. And I think I want to put maybe a little drop shadow on this. That's separating it out a little bit. And I can change the opacity of that drop shadow and play with the parameters, the distance it is, right? How far away it comes out. A little too far there. And I could add another effect, maybe a bevel. So I'm going to click on bevel and make sure I'm on bevel. And maybe I don't want a smooth bevel. Maybe I want a chisel hard bevel. Ooh, I like that. And maybe I want it to be a little darker. So maybe instead of screening the highlights, let's go to normal. And instead of screening that, let's go to normal. And can I get opacities? Here's what I'm really looking for. Those highlights are the white parts on top, and there's the dark parts. You can see me making them darker. I like that. Okay. Beautiful. Now, oh, they're on top of the heads of these guys. So let's go ahead and do the old trope of selecting. Well, we got the ZZ Top selected. Let's send that backwards. Arrange, just like an Illustrator. Send backwards. And there it is behind these guys' heads. That works for me. So now I have their name really big. Maybe I should make them bigger to balance it a little more. Why not? Let's do that one more time. Select them and make the box bigger, and then just do fitting one more time. Let's live a little. Oops, wrong thing to fit. Come here. Select you. Fitting. Hello. And fill frame proportionally. Yay, there we go. That looks better. And then move them back over. That looks more like a rock and roll magazine to me. And now I could put something here for my little teaser in here, right? I'm just going to make a text box. And I'll say, the music plays on after Dusty's death. The bass player died. All right, let's make this bigger. And I don't like that font. I don't like fonts that are skinny and fat when they're on busy backgrounds. I like them to be a little more basic and blocky. They're easier to read. I don't want something that's going to conflict or really clash, so I'm going to go with something super simple like Arial. And let's make it one of the Arials that's a little fatter. And why not? And the whole capitalizing thing, I'm not going to even start to play with that in my head. There we go. Let's make it so you can read it. Keep the type inside of there. Maybe a little smaller, huh? There you go. Let's make that readable. So let's make it a color we want. Select that type to change the color of it. And go over here, and maybe I'm just going to go with white. Why not? I want to go to white, go to brightness. White is over there, boof. And let's give that a little layer effect too. So let's give that a, you know what? I can just stroke it in here. So there's this thing called a stroke. I'm going to stroke it with black and make that stroke a little bigger maybe. I don't feel like I'm getting stroked. Do I have it highlighted? Maybe. Possibly I do. How about that? I think I stroked the box is what I did. You see that? See what I did there? Whoopsie, I stroked the box. So I'm going to unstroke that box. Take that stroke off of the box. All right. There you go. I could put a drop shadow on that. Why not? Let's do that for a second. Only takes a second. Object. Effects. Drop shadow. Boom, boom. Perfect. Leave it the way it is. I love it. All right. Opening spread. Done, ta-da! Inside spread. Alrighty. Questions about that? Does it make sense?
How do you make that frame again? I know you did it like a couple of times, but
How do I make it?
the frame, yeah.
There's the frame tool right over here.
Oh, it's its own tool, okay.
It's its own tool, right above the regular rectangle tool. It's easy to find.
Perfect.
It's the one with the X in it, like I'm empty
Okay.
kind of thing. And there's actually circular ones too. So if you saw that Timothy Chalamet thing, or Chalamet, I'm not sure how to say his name. Let me click on this thing and hold it. We also have the rectangle, the ellipse, and the polygon tool, just like we did in Illustrator.
Thank you.
Good question, though. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to create text boxes here. Like I said, these are just guides for the boxes, and I'm going to go to the inside a little faster because I'm not going to be overlaying things and such. I'm going to make a text box for each column. So it doesn't automatically make the text boxes, it just makes the guides for them. And when you see the little green arrows, it tells you everything's equal, and that's what you want to see. So when I see the green, I know I'm happy. And I'm making 4. Now these are not connected. Each one is its own individual container or text box. I am going to go to the interwebs. I like Variety magazine. Rolling Stone magazine wants you to subscribe. No, thank you. I'm not buying nothing today. I'm going to go to, I'm going to put you away. Go this one. Hold on a second. There we go. I'm going to go to this guy. And I'm going to go to Variety magazine as an article about this. I already selected it all. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to go right back to where I was. And I'm going to paste it into the first column. Now you'll notice that was a really long article, and I don't have a whole lot of stuff here. If you look here, let me zoom in a bit. You'll see something relatively interesting. And that is this little red box. Now, it's hard to see until, this is so stupid. Why do they do this? I don't know. Until I click the object tool, select object tool. Oh, now the red box is easy to see. The red box is indicating there's more copy that's been basically abridged. It's been cut off, right? There's more copy here, but you're cutting it off. So I can click on that with the black arrow. And now look, you can even read the copy. That's the rest of the article attached to that. Now, I could go to any other column, and it would connect those columns so things would flow. Well, it only makes sense to connect it to the next column here. But they do this, and I have more copy. Wait for it. I'm going to dump that into this column, and there is more copy. I'm going to dump that into this column. Why do they do that? Well, page jumps in magazines. You've all done the magazine jump to page 84 to finish your article. They never know how much copy they're going to have. The article might not be written while they're laying it out. So they're going to have pages that towards the end that are going to be dump pages. And whatever we don't sell, whatever ads we're going to place for somebody to give them an ad for free, one of our best customers, is where we don't have copy in the back of the magazine, right? That's what you do, or you put an ad in for the magazine itself, or for your publication, free things that you have for your company. I'm going to go and clean this up real briefly, real fast. So I know that because I copied this and it had ads and videos and stuff in it, there's junk in here. Grabbing my text tool, I'm going to get, look, this Pride and Prejudice teaser. I'm going to get this nonsense out of here. It says Netflix. And I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to keep spaces between each paragraph. If you copy and paste, there are no spaces between paragraphs, add them. Why? It makes it all, the page look lighter, more airy, and less daunting as far as reading-wise, right? If you see it set solid with nothing else in there, then it becomes very, so this is where all those magazine, or all those videos were. I've got to cut all of that out, which is not so bad. I've done worse things. And here it just says advertisement. That's easy. Make sure it's just one space between things. And I'm just going to go clean this up a little bit. Oopsie. Whoopsie. And you can decide how you want to massage this. This is an actual interview, so I could, if I was so inclined, and I'm not at the moment, I could get all the questions and put them in bold, right? Boldify all the questions if I wanted to. I don't feel like it at the moment because that would just take up more time. And I'm already talking way, way, way too much. All right, good. So I think I got rid of all the ads. All right, beautiful. So now I have this wonderful type. Now here's something you want to be aware of. And I will fix this later, but all the columns, top and bottom, need to start on the same line. You've never seen a magazine like this. It looks like a chipped tooth, you know what I mean? It just looks a little awkward. So you want to keep it so they're all equal, but I'm going to wait to get my pictures in here because that's going to change the flow of all this, and then I'll do the tidy work. So let's just get a couple of quick pictures in here. I said 50%, so I'm going to make these really big. Okay, I'm going to make what? A box to put a picture in, and I'm going to make a giant one here, all the way across the bottom. Boom. I'm going to go what? File, place, rinse and repeat. There's a lot of rinse and repeating in design. And I'm going to find that Telecaster guitar. Boom, there's a beautiful guitar. I'm going to go to the fitting, control click on it. And I'm going to go to fitting and say, fill the frame proportionally. That's a big guitar. I like it. Let's make this box a little bigger. Grab the right tool for that. Oopsie. And I don't mind it going to the edge. In fact, I might make it up a little bit so it's not on the edge, but it's a graphic, you know, why not? And I'm going to send this what? Backwards, right? So I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, all the way behind all the columns. Now here is something you want to pay attention to because the tool is not just laying it out. You got to go out and physically hunt it down. I'm going to go to Window, Text Wrap. And I'm going to select the third option, which is Wrap Around Object Shape. That's what I want it to do. But you'll notice it's not really wrapping around the object shape yet because our contour options, excuse me, are set to same as clipping, which is the clipping. It's the shape of the thing. You go select subject, and this is the same technology that's in your Photoshop for select subject. This used to be really a pain in the butt, folks. I do that, and now it is wrapped around the guitar. Although it is too close to the guitar in these areas, right? So I can go ahead and change the offset, how far it's pushed away from this. Now let's say I like this, but look here, oopsie, don't do that, Pellerano. All right, I like this, but right here, I don't like, it didn't get all of this part, right? You can see like the tuners there are running over the type. I need to fix that. So I'm gonna select my guitar and my text wrap, and I'm gonna unwrap it and then wrap it again. And you'll see that little outline. That is actually a path, like you made a path in Illustrator with a pen tool, really. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my black arrow like you would do in Illustrator. Oh, Pellerano, stop doing that. Let's zoom in the old-fashioned way. All right. And I can select these paths, these little anchor points. I'm sorry. Let me find an anchor point. There, it turned blue, and I'm going to move it. And by doing that, it pushes the type out of the way. If you have too many anchor points, the pen tool has the same tools you had in Illustrator, the delete anchor point tool. If you have too many that were made, you can always refine that by deleting them. But you guys see what I'm doing there, right? I'm just moving those little points away. They're little anchor points. Oops, I lost you again, anchor points. There's probably a better way to get them back, not the page tool. There, oops, I just had it. There you go. And now that I'm editing them, it's letting me edit them a little more easily. Come here, you. But you can see how I can do all of that, right? Okay, I got that idea across. That was an important idea to get across. Now I need to do 50% graphic. So I'm going to put another big graphic in here because, well, it's getting the job done. So I'm going to go ahead and make what? Another placeholder box, another frame, if you would. And there's a wonderful picture of a car in here. I'm going to put that picture of the car right here. And I'm going to go to File, Place. And find the Eliminator, the Photoshop version. Been cleaned up a little bit. A little too big. I'm going to go what? Content, fitting. And fit that content proportionally. I don't want it to be cut off. Who wants a cut off car? And there's the car. Now what do I do with that car selected? I go to my, what happened to my text wrap window? I must have closed it. Text wrap. Third option. Select subject. Let's take a zoom in look here. And do I need to adjust it? Oh, let's pop it out a little bit. It's looking pretty good for the most part. And if you don't like the amount, like I don't like the jump between 0.125 and 0.06, I'm going to say 0.08 to 0.0925. There you go. Nice. All right. So there you go. And I could, if I wanted to, I could adjust those individual paths. I'm not going to, because you saw me do that already, right? Finally, page numbers. Well, let's fix this part. They got to end top and bottom around the same. Be really careful about these hyphens. You see, the minute I started doing that wrapping thing, hyphens got really funky. You can go into your text tool and, select some type and then go Command or Control A and select all your type. And I'm going to go to Properties. Is it Properties? Yes. Under Paragraph, and I'm going to uncheck Hyphenate. That got rid of all those hyphens, all those broken words in there. And if there's a single word somewhere that's looking really janky, I get rid of it, right? The best practices is to have at least 3 words on a line. So like this one here where it says hip. You know what? I'm going to get rid of he is going to a deep place. There you go. Not glorious, just deep. I'm going to send this picture backwards because it's still in front and it's killing me. So this picture is going to go to the back. Objects, select, arrange, send to back. There you go. Now I can select my type, I hope, with my type tool. And I can fix things I don't like. So I don't like that. I'm going to say he's going to a deep place, not deep and glorious. It changes the quote, but there you go. It looks better. It looks prettier. So there you go. You can fix it that way. And then I want to make sure things are even top and bottom. I think it looks really janky with this one little line here. Well, it's a double space there too, so it still looks janky. So I might just, delete that sentence. Ta-da, and less jank. Oh, it's still not quite right, so I'm going to delete that space. And that's how we even things out. And believe it or not, as a copywriter, I can tell you that art directors and layout artists have no qualms about deleting your copy. As long as it means the same in the end, they don't care. True story. Page numbers, you just do not use the page number tool. Literally just look at the magazine that you're imitating and make a little text box and imitate their page numbers. You saw that in the examples. I'm done talking. If you've had enough of me talking, I certainly have questions. Where did I go too fast? What should I repeat? I'm happy to repeat any of it. Yes?
I have a weird question. Does the text have to do, does it have to have anything to do with what you're
I prefer that it's the same subject, so that when you're showing it to somebody, it's not like this weird disconnect. Like they read 3 words and go, what? Barbecue grills? That's not ZZ Top. So that, yes, and there is a placeholder text in InDesign that puts in this Latin poem called Lorem Ipsum. I avoid it like the plague. I mean, unless you need text there because the copy is not available, throw copy in there. It's just less weird than to have someone look at a page going, why is this in a different language? And the irony of that Latin text is they call it Greeking. That's the technical term, which it's actually Latining. Just saying. But there you go. All right, I'm going to play some music. And if you have questions, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. If you have questions on your redo, don't hesitate. And if you want, I would call dibs, though, on whatever it is you're doing. Yes, sir. Oops. Oh, yes. Why don't you slide on over here? And we will take care of that. I'm going to get some music playing. Let me change the sources so we can get something a little more.
It's good news. Once I get there, I can have my mom help me figure out